If you're highly curious, you'll likely see a physical record of abandoned obsessions, a guitar gathering a thin layer of dust in the corner, a half-coded website sitting in a forgotten browser tab, a pristine set of baking tools bought during a frantic weekend last winter. A very specific type of shame attaches itself to this clutter. Society looks at these unfinished projects and labels you a dilettante. They tell you that you are chaotic and lack the grit to pick a lane. This creates a constant sense of imposter syndrome. You watch peers become senior vice presidents or lead engineers because they stayed in one lane, while you feel stuck at the starting line because you keep switching tracks. You might even use the culture's favorite weapon against yourself, the phrase, "Jack of all trades, master of none." That weapon is actually missing its edge. The full original quote is, "A jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one." This feeling of being scattered is a symptom of a highly adaptive nervous system. Your brain is unconsciously building a rare cognitive architecture known as the M-shaped mind. What looks like a lack of focus is a sophisticated survival strategy. Your brain is preparing for an unpredictable future where hyperspecialization is a dangerous liability. The economic model of the 20th century functioned as a kind learning environment. It rewarded people who dug a single hole a mile deep. This is the I-shaped professional. In a static game like golf, the rules never change. If you practice your swing for 10,000 hours, you get predictable outcomes. You win because the environment is stable. The modern world has transitioned into a wicked environment. The rules and the required skill sets change every day. In a wicked environment, the hyper-specialist is fragile. If an industry shifts or AI automates a specific task, the person with only one deep skill set becomes obsolete overnight. The 10,000-hour rule of specialization works in a static world, but it creates a fatal weakness in a dynamic one. When you move rapidly between hobbies, you are gathering data points from disparate domains. This looks like chaos, but it functions as a high-level research phase. This enables far transfer. A specialist uses near transfer, applying familiar tools to familiar problems. You take a concept from one unrelated field and apply it to another. Consider a web developer who spent years as a farmer. That agricultural experience allows them to understand organic growth cycles and interconnected systems. They manage digital ecosystems with a perspective a specialist coder who only stares at screens could never access. Nature uses a similar strategy called redundancy. Elephants rarely get cancer because they have multiple genetic copies of the same defense gene. If one gene fails, another takes over. This same principle applies to your career. A software engineer who also knows how to fix HVAC systems and teach English possesses 3 distinct revenue paths. If the tech sector collapses, the other skills remain operational. You have turned a varied resume into a literal safety net. This makes you unbreakable. Dabbling is strategic adaptability, the active construction of an evolutionary backup plan. If this scattered mind is a superpower, you might wonder why you still feel burned out and behind. You are M-shaped. The world pushes the T-shaped model, one specialty with general knowledge, but you require multiple pillars of depth. The trap is building them all at once. Try data science, writing, and business in the same month, and the structure buckles. This systemic collapse stems from an impossible timeline. The M-shape is a strong architecture, but fails when you build every pillar simultaneously. Successful polymaths use serial mastery. They divide their skill acquisition into distinct seasons. One 53-year-old polymath found peace by letting programming be his primary pillar to pay the bills. Meanwhile, his interests in music, philosophy, and game design grew as secondary pillars during nights and weekends. He protected his energy by denying promotions, keeping his work week at 30 hours, so the other pillars could grow. These isolated skills eventually merged into his own video game project. By sequencing them, he built a stable structure. Your graveyard of hobbies is actually a collection of successfully completed semesters in a university of your own making. Stop apologizing for your curiosity. Start sequencing your passions. You are meant to be the bridge between worlds that others cannot even see.